line update for the week, and I'm gonna jump right in. We had a great week last week. Big thanks to the resort team for a lot of success in boarding as many pets as we do, having as many perfect pet report cards put out there, little to no mistakes, just everybody banding together to make it happen, especially for the customer care team and the hospital team for jumping in to help and carry those things through. You guys are just phenomenal, and you make doing what we do look really easy. So that's always awesome to report on and give kudos on. So great job. Looking forward to the Christmas party this Saturday. It's gonna be popping, so please make sure that you come and have a good time. Make responsible arrangements for yourself. If you know that you're gonna drink and you're gonna indulge, go ahead and get an Uber. We'll not make those arrangements in the moment. Pre-arrange if you can to get a ride there, get a ride home, carpool if you need to. Just take care of yourself. So make sure that you make plans for that. We're happy to help along the way as you need, but I know y'all will figure that out and do the right thing. So to jump into some announcements that we have for this week, some housekeeping issues, as I usually say, I wanted to give a little nod to the Vetmedin back order that we're having. Got to be really careful with this because we are randomly out of certain sizes, and it's really out of our control. Dawn is doing her absolute best to research these things and try and get us the drugs that we need. My point is, you got to be really careful when you're refilling those to check and make sure that you have the size in stock that you need before you guarantee that to a client. So be aware of that. It's a drug back order, so our online pharmacy is not guaranteed to have it. They may have random assortments of sizes which may change by day. So before you promise it to a client, you might need to tell them that this drug is particularly hard to get. There's not a lot of substitutions for it. It's on back order, that you're going to take a few minutes and do some research before you promise it to them. And then if you don't have what you need, you can't find it in our stock or in the online pharmacy, you can talk to a doctor about what to do as far as alternatives, maybe sizing up to a different dose and dosing that accordingly from there. Get help when you need, but just be careful not to overpromise on that drug, because we're doing our best to get it, and we'll let you know when that gets resolved and things are back to normal. The other thing that I wanted to take a moment to clarify is pickup times for the resort. So everybody should know that our resort closes Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and then on Saturdays at 4, Sundays at 6. So we have to be careful when we're promising pickup times to people or telling people that they can come anytime. You have to be careful with that because we don't always have the appropriate staff to check pets out, to check pets in, to make sure that all their belongings make it up. So the difference between a promise and executing a great delivery and a disaster is like this absolute fine line. Another thing to consider is that doggy daycare does enforce a late pickup time. We give a 10-minute grace period, so daycare dogs have to be picked up by 6 p.m. We will give them a 10-minute grace period, and then we'll start to enforce a $10 late fee for each hour that they're late, right? So the typical scenario would be that a doggy daycare parent might not pick up until 6:20 because they're running late or whatever, and they don't let us know. So you would enforce a $10 pickup fee at that point. Now I have to clarify by what I said at the first point, which is that our resort front desk closes at 6. That's when the lobby closes. So boarding pickup, grooming, bath pickup, they just go into falling towards boarding charges. Well, you have to think about this. Our boarding charges go through noon the next day. So if somebody is late to pick up their pet on a day that they scheduled departure for the afternoon, they've kind of already paid for the night, so there's no late fee. They're actually picking up early because they've already paid for the next day. So those boarding dogs, they can make it right into the late pickup kennels at the front if the owner prearranged, or we can get one of the techs that are there late until 7 p.m. to bring them up. So there's not a lot of arrangements that you can do for pets that will be picked up from boarding late. Grooming and bathing, this just hasn't particularly been an issue, but I kind of treat those like the boarding pets as well. They've paid their service for the day. There's much fewer of them, and so we can make that allowance for them to pick up late, especially if they call and they say they're running late. The late fees there are mostly for the daycare dogs who were habitually being picked up late, and the system was kind of being abused, and the same team member was with those dogs all day. Again, I hope that gives you some clarity so that you can use that to make the right decision for the situation that you end up with. And we're happy to continue to clarify that in the future if you need. Thanks again for all you do. I hope that you have a great rest of your week and a good weekend, and we'll see you at the Christmas party.